Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome to another episode of Vampire Diaries. We are on Season 6, Episode 4, Black Hole Sun. I am Roxy Striar, alongside Tiona Hobson.
I still have never heard this song before tonight, but I like it.
Oh, it's good, it's good. And, of course, the beautiful Katie Campbell.
Hi.
Well, we are missing Jesse Janedy tonight, but he will be back next week.
I think he got attacked by a vampire. That's why he couldn't make it tonight.
Oh, or maybe it was a dog. You know,
maybe
we don't know it was a vampire. Yeah, wild animal bite.
He was just for a walk in the woods of California. And
I'm in for the all ladies panel though.
Yeah,
I can dig it, especially because we're representing Elena and Stelena across the board right now. T, you missed last week, but we had our very first. Not Delana or Stelena, but in between fan. It was truly bizarre.
Okay.
She was just like...
She's not welcome back. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Samantha Davidson, she was awesome. She was like, I just go back and forth. And I was like, huh?
Yeah, well, she said Elena does, so, and that makes sense, right?
Very valid, very valid.
I will give her that. If Elena can't make up her mind, how can we? But, you know, I've made up my mind, Elena, and it's Delana all the way.
Yeah, I know, but tonight we did see a lot of Stelena, so that must make somebody over here a little happy.
I was smiling from ear to ear.
I don't know why. It was all for pretend.
When you watched it twice.
I did.
You meanie pants.
I can't get enough, though.
I know. I love that you do that.
That's why she knows everything, and we're constantly like, wait a second, where do we know him from?
You gotta use the Vampire Wiki, because obviously we've seen every episode. We watched them so many times, but when you're on Season 6 of a show and every episode is jam-packed with info, all of a sudden you're like, wait, what happened here? And especially if you're Jesse, who went over from Buffy and then True Blood and then this and the original, it's like, I can't get my vampire stuff straight. Okay, but let's talk about tonight's episode. Overall thoughts, are we thinking, we're a little bit of the ways into the season. Are we loving this season so far? Are we liking where we're going? And did we enjoy tonight's episode?
Yes, 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 yes. I'm not sure.
So yes.
So yes.
I feel like it's a yes.
I feel like it's a strong yes. I will say that what I'm enjoying most about this season is the Damon and Bonnie stuck in their little version of hell storyline that's happening, because I just think it's so different, and it's not because I want to see Damon and Bonnie together necessarily. I don't really
Damon.
Yeah, I'm not really a supporter of that, as we all know. I know there's people out there who want that, but I just think that this storyline is so great to see them interacting, and then this Kai character, who is he? What does he do? Where is he from?
So we know a little more.
Yeah, we know a little more about him. So that's what I'm enjoying most about this season so far.
Cool. What about you, Katie?
I agree with you. I like that whole dynamic, and especially the back and forth between Bonnie and Damon. I think it really makes for an interesting part of the show. I really like this season a lot. I think that they're going to take the characters in a little bit of a different, way that they've ever been before. I'm really sad about the Stelena situation. Makes me sad. I mean, I was really happy when I saw.
Oh, you're not seeing Stelena work anymore?
I'm really getting obsessed
such an ass.
It's over now. Move over.
I still have hope. I'm never going to give up hope.
Okay, all right. I feel you. Hold out till the end. Why don't you just crash and burn into the ground? That's fine. No. You just ride that ship all the way down. All right, we will talk about them. We will talk about Stelena in a little bit. But let's start with Matty Blue Eyes. All right, this is a very strange storyline going on. I wasn't expecting Tripp to introduce Matt to the vampire world so quickly. Matt is playing his cards very well right now. He's getting on Tripp's good side and getting him to trust him. What do you guys think about Tripp? Do we think he's all bad, or do we think he really is just this hurt guy? We hear more about his story. We know what happened with his wife. I mean, do you understand where he's coming from?
I think he's just really hurt from that situation. He wants to get revenge. Something was taken from him, in front of him, and then he said the vampire made him think it was his fault.
Right.
With the car accident.
Compelling him.
Yeah, and compelling him. And
now he's aware of it because he's back in Mystic Falls, which is a magic-free zone.
Which vampire was it?
That killed the wife. We didn't find out.
He didn't say, which one it was, so we don't know if it was Damon or Stefan. Could have been.
Oh, you think it was Ripper Phase?
No, it would have been Ripper Phase because he's not old enough to have been lost his wife that long ago.
I think it could have been Damon.
Well, we know that we watch. It's tricky to say because what year would that have been in then? Do we know?
Because the Ripper stage started
right. So we had to write down 1912 was Ripper.
Yeah. So I'm going
to make you go through all those dates. We got a lot of dates tonight, and this is a very date-centric season so far. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We keep hearing numbers in our heads, so we got to keep it. I keep asking you guys at home. You guys are the best fans of all time, but I need this timeline. I need a Vampire Diaries timeline starting back 1,000 years ago when we're getting the originals. I mean, we love you guys. You're on iTunes. You're on YouTube. You rate, comment, subscribing. We love that. Somebody get us a timeline. I mean, I guess that is my job, so maybe I could.
Maybe you should make a timeline.
Maybe I should be that somebody. But it's hard to get everything straight, but we do have some dates tonight, so we'll go through that in a little. I don't know who the vampire is who does it, but we do know that he's holding Enzo because Enzo's the one who killed Jay.
I think he suspects that he bit Sarah too, which it wasn't Enzo.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think he suspects that because it depends. Do you think Sarah has talked to Tripp? Have Sarah and Tripp communicated post her being out of the hospital? Because if so, she obviously knows who bit her.
I don't think they have because I don't think that Sarah knows who she can trust because
But wouldn't Tripp have approached her?
But also, when would he have had time because he's been looking for her?
I guess, but she's like rocking out at these parties.
Yeah, but then my other question, which you guys might have talked about last week because I wasn't here, Sarah was compelled outside of Mystic Falls and then taken back in and was still hanging out with Jeremy and like drinking and partying, even though she wouldn't have remembered that she was compelled. Yeah. So she was still hanging out with him knowing that he was covering up for his sister, right?
She wants answers. She's using him. Absolutely.
So if she knew, then I don't know. I think she doesn't know who to trust within the city.
That's true.
So she wouldn't go to Tripp because she doesn't know him.
What's interesting about all of this is, so if you are compelled outside of Mystic Falls, and then you go into Mystic Falls, you get all your memories back. But if you go out of Mystic Falls again, you keep the memories?
I think so.
Because Sarah knew who Elena was when she saw her outside of Mystic Falls. And then also we see Tripp driving all of these vampires outside of Mystic Falls into Mystic Falls. So he must keep the memories. So it's not only in this zone that you lose, that the magic works, it erases everything, even for the future. Am I getting that correct?
Yeah, and that makes me freak out too because of all the people throughout all the years that they've compelled in Mystic Falls.
Yeah. So that's confusing because you would think there'd be more people in an uproar right now. All the people that are in Mystic Falls.
I feel like we might see more of that though.
We very well might. But wouldn't you think Tripp maybe would be searching for those people? I guess he might be. We don't know that much about what he does in his spare time, except for drive buses of vampires.
Because this whole vampire hunting thing is still very new to him because the memories have just come back to him.
Right.
So he's just now remembering, what happened to his wife and being like, oh, okay, it was a vampire. I'm going to set out to kill all these vampires. We don't know how much because he did say that his family is one of the founding families, but that he moved when he was young. So we don't know how much of the history he knows about, the vampires within the city.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's probably educating himself as he's going.
And he starts to trust Matt tonight. What is it that Matt did, do you guys think, that made him earn and deserve the respect?
Matt.
He's just Matty Blue Eyes, so everybody loves him.
And he was playing his cards right. He was saying, he said it was a vampire. Isn't that crazy? So
and planting the seed.
Yeah.
Can you guys remember a time when Matt and Enzo have interacted? Because I feel as if they had to have interacted in the past. They have to know each other from some point, but I can't remember what Matt's feelings towards Enzo or vice versa were. And when we see Matt introduced to Enzo tonight, Enzo didn't really seem to react.
Well, you also saw Matt kind of shaking his head no I think he was trying to warn Enzo, like, don't give me away, don't give me away.
Right, but you would think that we would see his eyes light up or something. It seemed to me like there was not much of a...
But Enzo's one of those guys who's been through a lot.
Damn, he looks good down there, though.
Yeah, for someone who's been, locked in that place for a while, he looked good.
Why is Tripp holding Enzo and not just driving him into Mystic Falls? To torture him?
Maybe this is something he does with them before.
Well, he says he wants to get the answers of the names of all the vampires that he knows, but...
He wants to get more answers of why he killed Jay. I think he said to Jay's mom on the phone, he said, Karen, you'll be the first to know when I find out. I think he's trying to get answers out of him about that and about more.
And he wants to know who was lurking around Falls, who bit Sarah, all of those things. He's trying to get answers. Once he does get the answers, we are positive he'll kill him, correct?
Yes. I think that with the other vampires, maybe he questioned them too. And once he got what he needed out of them, he then killed them.
What do you guys think that Matt is going to do in this case then? Because is he going to go and tell his friends that Enzo is being stored? And we saw tonight that Stefan claimed that he didn't know where Enzo was. So is this going to out Stefan? Are people going to be pissed?
I think people will be pissed, but I don't know. I think Matt's going to...
We'll forgive him because it's Stefan.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Katie. Katie's like, I've already forgiven him. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we really don't know. We really don't know what Matt's going to do. We really don't know if Matt can do anything. Maybe he lets Jeremy in on the secret and Jeremy can help. Jeremy's a little tougher.
Yeah, maybe he recruits Jeremy to come be another undercover agent and then...
Undercover.
Kind of like how... I forget what it was that Matt and... I feel like Tyler were doing together where they were pretending to help, but then they were actually not doing anything. Like we could have Matt and Jeremy pretending to be vampire hunting, but actually,
they're on the
secretly.
Side.
Yeah. Speaking of Tyler, what? Where?
I mean, we didn't see Caroline either.
Yeah, I hate that.
I mean, Tyler's going to come back. Tyler and Liv, that's going to happen.
Of course, yeah. We didn't see Liv and Luke, but I'm more used to that. But an episode without Caroline, we've had episodes without Tyler too, but episode without Caroline, it's like, she's my girl. I hate that.
She was hiding out of the dorms.
She was so sad and everything about Stefan. Maybe Elena should have invited her on for the road trip with them and just hanging out. I guess she's just too upset about it all. Okay, so let's move on. Let's talk about a little bit of ancient history. We're going to the real 1994 for a second. Not the 1994 hell that we're stuck in, but the real 1994 with the brothers. So we've got Damon, we've got Stefan, and we've got this long-lost character we haven't seen in a very long time, Zach Salvatore. So if Uncle Zach, nephew Zach, whatever you want to call him. Right. So if you're like me and you're sitting here thinking, I know that face. What happened? Most of you guys, I'm sure, were like knew immediately because you're the best super fans of all time. But just as a little recap, do you guys want to refresh our memory who Zach is?
He is Stefan and Damon's nephew. But we were introduced to him in the first season as he was playing their uncle. So the school that Stefan, he went to high school, they thought that it was Uncle Zach and Stefan Salvatore. That's how everybody kind of knew him. But then Damon ended up killing Uncle Zach, snapping his neck.
Which we remember, he reminds us tonight's episode.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And he was a part of the council as well, and he was holding the vervain, Uncle Zach.
So a little bit of bad blood. A little bit of vervain blood.
He was just trying to protect the community.
So are you a fan of Zach? You're standing up for Zach right now. Yeah, you're just not Team Damon. Get on Team Damon.
No. I mean, that was back in Damon's darker days when he was,
The dark days. Yeah, I love
the dark days when he was, episode like season 1, episode 5. I mean, like, come on.
Were you guys surprised to see what Damon was capable of and what he did? I mean, let's talk about these specific dates. Let's go back to the dates that first Stefan threw in Damon's face and then Damon used to throw back in Stefan's face. So I know you guys have them written down for us. What was the first date we got and the event that took place?
1912, Stefan was a ripper, and he said that Damon made him that way.
So Damon made him that way, and then what Damon's response to that later on was...
He showed Stefan who he really was.
He showed Stefan who Stefan really was.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What's the next date?
1942, he almost pushed him over the edge again.
Okay. And his response?
Was he gave him his freedom?
Whew, that's a little bit of a force. Okay.
And 1977, he left his best friend, which is Lexi, to die after Stefan sent her to help Damon.
And his response was, it should have been Stefan there to help him, not Lexi.
So in this argument, what side are we on? Who do we think makes a stronger case?
Stefan.
I mean, I think it's very blatantly obvious. I can't even believe that Stefan is questioning this. He seemed to be very affected by when Damon said these things back. I was like, I don't really feel as if there was one thing he said that was like, oh yeah, you're right. I should have done that. Stefan was saying all these things, and Damon's like, counterpoints are crap, for lack of better words, right?
Yeah.
They are, and then...
But we love him, so they aren't.
But in Damon's mind, they aren't. You know, in Damon's mind, he's saying, okay, I made you have human blood. You're a vampire. That's what you're supposed to live off of. So I'm showing you who you really are. You're a vampire. Mm-hmm. In 42, what was the first part of it?
That he almost pushed him over the edge again.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, but really I was giving you your freedom because I'm letting you be yourself. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, in 77, let's be honest, sending your best friend when your brother, like, it should have been, like,
it's true.
It's a brotherly type of thing. So if you go into Damon's mind, everything he's saying is true and valid, and
you make good points, T.
Perfect sense.
Well, right after that, Damon said, I promised you an eternity of misery. So he's saying he also knows that he's making him miserable.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard, though, because we do hear at the end, and of course we'll talk about this later, but when finally Stefan says, for the same reasons you loved him, I loved him, because he took the dark parts of us and made us embrace them, which is a very interesting thing that somebody can do, and those are all examples of that. So I feel like now that we're talking about it more, I retract what I'm saying. I think there is a little bit of validity to this. And I do see why Damon would be upset, especially when he came back and he really seemed like he was trying to make a connection with his brother, and his brother really shafted him. Not that he didn't have reason to, though. I just think putting somebody in, what was that, a barn? A barn type place, taking away his daylight ring, it's not a wonder why he lashed out. I mean, can you really blame him?
How do you make it from...
Because of the eclipse.
Oh, I forgot.
Because of the eclipse.
I forgot what eclipses actually do.
Yeah.
It blocks the sun. Okay.
Right. Right. So they're hinting at something here, and we don't really know what exactly this eclipse is all about. But we saw it then. We know it keeps happening every day now. We know that you don't need your daylight ring during that time. We know that maybe it's the time that you can travel between years or whatever it is,
because it's something that, you know, witches can really draw from, because it's part of the Earth's natural cycle and stuff. So I mean, we've talked about it in previous shows, and then I think tonight with Kai's explanation, you know, it's like clearly it's this day for a reason, and it's something that will be a hole in the rule book so that they can find a way home. Right.
So just sticking with real 1994 for a second, though, what ends up happening is that Damon goes crazy and kills a whole bunch of people, one of whom is a pregnant lady. I hated to watch that. I'm screaming out loud, she can't actually be dead. She's not actually dead. I was wrong. She was dead. But we find out. Exactly, Katie. So her baby is alive. And who is that baby?
Sarah.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right.
So
I wonder if anybody saw this coming. We had a lot of predictions about who Sarah's parents were. This didn't happen to be one of them. She's a Salvatore.
I mean, I think that they did such a great job at going back, because who's thinking all the way back to season 1 with Uncle Zach?
Really cool.
Like, who's gonna be guessing that person? I'm thinking of everyone we've seen in Mystic Falls and just like, who could this person be? Yeah. He never came to mind until we were reading up about him on the wiki page, and then it was
the Vampire Diaries wiki, baby.
And then what did it say? It said something about, father of Sarah.
And I was like, oh, I know.
Salvatore.
Yeah, and then I was like, who's that? And then we're watching the episode. It's like Sarah. I was like, oh,
got it.
Put it together.
Yeah,
they did. They, tricked us. I mean, people were saying, oh, it's either a werewolf or it's a witch or she's Tripp's daughter or something. And I never expected this, but as soon as I saw the pregnant woman, when he you know, kissed her on the cheek when he
Who
came
looks
back.
like it could be her mom,
Yes, I just knew.
Because I thought she was going to be a witch and, like, related to Bonnie somehow because, you know, they're...
I did too.
I was reading online, there were so many predictions, but this one I didn't see because, like you're saying, who would have thought we would have gone back to season 1, which is something I love about the show, especially because last week we were talking with Samantha Davidson, and she was like, Julie Plec keeps making references about how much this season is going back to season 1. We're bringing it back to the roots. We're taking these characters back, and so this is a direct reflection of season 1. We're bringing this character back. We haven't seen him in so long. We probably won't see him for a very long time
unless
from here on out.
See more flashbacks from 1994.
Right, absolutely.
I love that they're doing that with the first season. I love the first and the second season so much. I'm excited.
All right, Stelena.
I know. But not
Calm
just because of
down
that.
over there.
It was fun.
No, I'm giving you a hard time, but you got to be our resident Stelena right now. So, no, I agree. I love season 1, season 2. Obviously, they got me so addicted to the show that I continued watching. But I've loved the show every season.
Yeah.
But it was really strong back then, and I do think it's interesting that we're coming full circle. Although we have a new character now. Let's do a little family tree for a second. So, if we have Stefan and Damon, and then we have their nephew, which would be Zach, then Zach's daughter would make Stefan and Damon's what?
Great niece. Great, however, because clearly Zach is not a direct nephew.
Yeah.
So it's a great
No,
nephew.
I think he is.
But how? Because they've been alive for too long for Zach to
Be the nephew.
1864.
As we silently do math in our heads, divide subtract 15. Yep. No, I don't know exactly. Yeah, it would have to be a nephew of a nephew, and a great nephew's great. You guys, I'm sure you've already done the family tree. Please let us know. Let us know what the exact relationship is. But the point
130
is,
years.
All right. So the point is that they are related distantly, but they are related. So, oh my gosh, this is gonna get to be so incestual.
Is Zach, his father, is their half brother? Is that what it is?
Zach's
Could
father.
be that way. Because the Salvatore would have to come from...
Okay, so they're great, or however many great nephews. What is it?
Because I think that's
niece.
the real question now is, like, are we now going to go back and start hearing more about, you know, Stefan and Damon's, like, half-brother and, like, that life and that line?
I don't know. It's something that we haven't tapped into to its fullest potential yet, so that could be an interesting place to go. What is Stefan's role going to be in Sarah's life? Because he's one of the only Salvatores left. I mean, once he hears that he has a relative in Mystic Falls, is that going to be enough to drag him back?
I think it will, because we saw him at the end when, you know, we see that the baby actually does get born. He's waiting in that hospital. And then, you know, we know that Damon said that after that night, you know, he left for 15 years before he ended up coming back again. But maybe he never knew.
Stefan left for 15 years.
Stefan left, so maybe he never knew if the baby was actually born.
Yeah,
Maybe
because he left before.
Yeah, maybe he has been. Maybe he did know and has been keeping a kind of loose tabs on her to make sure she's supported and, like, has, you know,
Right.
make sure she got to a good family and that kind of stuff.
Well, I guess we're going to have to see whether he had any idea she was alive or not. And I have a feeling because he did love Zach so much, and Gail, presumably, he would want to be involved in Sarah's life.
I don't think he knew that she was born. I think that he walked away right before they performed the surgery, and I think that could draw him back, though, because he's so compassionate.
I agree with that, but I feel like he's the kind of guy who would have checked in on that. Don't you think over the last 20 years, at some point, he would have been like, hey, I wonder if that chick was ever born?
Maybe.
Maybe not. He does have a lot on his plate.
Yeah.
He's a very busy man. Maybe he couldn't.
And he was trying to distance himself from Mystic Falls because of, you know, what his brother, the massacre that his brother, like, did that day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that isn't the only massacre that happens, though. We find out, jumping to the fake 1994 for a second, we are not in Damon's hell. We are in somebody else's hell, and that is Kai's hell. I mean, This kid,
He's crazy.
Talk about predictions online. I mean, I was on the team that he was a werewolf. I was proved wrong. People thought that he was a normal human. People were thinking that he had been a vamp and now wasn't. Whatever it was, we find out that he's kind of a witch because he can
harness their powers, but he doesn't have his own powers.
Right, and so he has to be in physical contact with them in order to do that.
For a temporary.
Right.
Just temporary powers.
And then once he lets go, it's gone. But if he holds on too long, he can kill somebody. So here's the story with him. He's we've already heard about his coven because we know that we've been looking for the coven because Enzo wanted to find them in order to try to get Damon back. They're called the Gemini Coven. But it seemed like it was a dead end and there were no answers there, is what Stefan said.
Because they put him there. So they don't want to give answers about how to get anybody else out because they want him gone about all of the crazy things he did.
Sneaky.
Did Stefan actually find the Gemini Coven?
He says he did.
Because he said it was a dead end, so I just wasn't sure if he actually found anyone who was a part of the coven and they wouldn't give him answers, or if he just went to where he thought they were going to be and no one was there.
Dead end sounds to me like you found something and it was a dead end, because I think that they are still there. I mean, obviously not the siblings because they're dead. So maybe that's what he means by it was a dead end. Is anybody left of the Gemini Coven?
No, the Gemini Coven is who he was with. They learned what he did to his family. So they put him in the
family
prison
wasn't part of
hell.
the family wasn't part of the coven.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless they were, but that's a different
entity.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So he ends up murdering all of his siblings except for one. I have a feeling that she's going to come into play at some point.
But did she survive? That's my question, because he said that you can survive without your spleen. So he gave her the opportunity to survive, but did she? Because the newspaper said there was only one survivor and he's missing. 22-year-old Malachi.
Right.
And that's where, before we found out who Sarah was, I went to thinking, oh, maybe that's where Sarah fits into the story.
Interesting.
As like the lone sibling who made it out.
Interesting. Yeah, and it would be hard to introduce another character at this point. I don't know. This is a very, very weird storyline that I did not see coming this season. And I didn't even see, once we met Kai, he seemed a little off, but... He seemed off.
He was crazy.
Crazy, but he said the whole thing about how he was testing them. He didn't seem like a mass murderer.
Yes, he did. He looked like a psycho killer.
He is crazy.
He looked like someone who's going to walk into a building and like...
I'm going to take some heat for this. But I don't know. I see sparks with him and Vaughn.
Oh, no. You see him trying to get it in with Bonnie, and Bonnie being like,
something's off.
Boys don't hit on me. Like, stay away.
I see it.
But
I see her fixing him. She does think he's crazy, but maybe she helps him. Maybe he ends up being good. Maybe she saves him the way that Elena saved Damon. Anything to keep us from Damon. You know, anything.
You know what? There were some comments on the YouTube that he could potentially be a villain for this season, and I think that's a very good point.
I think that's definitely true. I mean, we no longer have some of our biggest villains of the past seasons. Yeah. Considering Klaus is gone, what's Silas, who's the big bad? We need a big bad. Catherine, but now we need to work with this big bad, which...
But they always end up having to work with their big bads. But can you imagine him and Enzo together? And, like, the type of trouble that those two would just kind of create together. And
if Stefan was a ripper, the three of them, that trio would be crazy.
Would be horrible for the world.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
I mean, it'd be horrible for humans.
Sets.
Yeah, it'd be horrible for the humans in this world, but...
Absolutely.
I'm not one of them, so I don't have anything to worry about.
So I'll watch it. Absolutely.
I'll watch it.
Okay, so we've got Kai. Bonnie doesn't seem to trust him. Now we know why. The interesting part of this to me was the comparison between Damon and Kai. And Bonnie tells us the exact difference, which is Damon keeps reliving this moment. And he's making the pancakes and he's doing all these things because he has remorse. As opposed to Kai, who when he explains what he did to his siblings, psychopath was written all over him.
It, like, excites him.
Do you guys agree with the thing that she called out to be the difference? Do you guys think that they are different, or do you think Damon's just as bad?
I think they're different. I don't think Kai has any goodness left in him. I think he's just he's a psycho. But Damon, she said that he's punishing himself by making these pancakes because that was Gail's favorite. And he obviously has compassion. He fell in love with Elena and makes him more human.
And for what he did with Enzo and then how he was Enzo's friend after he left him in the fire, I feel like he's that boy who makes mistakes and then tries to fix them.
Yeah, I mean, Kai even said, because what was Kai's real full name? Malachi. He was like, my parents even, they named me something. How could they not expect me to be evil?
Yeah.
And that right there just proves that he is an evil person. He has no remorse. He's not sorry about anything he did. He talked about that like it was his proudest moment.
Yeah.
Not like he felt any sort of remorse. And we have seen Damon. I mean, it was nice to see him at one of his worst points tonight, but also know that there is a difference because look at the journey he's had and the journey that he's gone from that person who murdered a pregnant woman who, was almost kind of related to him. That was his nephew's girl. I don't know if they probably weren't married or anything.
In-laws
or something, but
why weren't they married?
That was, I don't know what the situation was. We never found out.
Yeah, but
was there a ring on her hand? I don't know.
If you like it, then you should put a ring on it.
Yeah, but that was like his.
I wasn't around in 1994.
Yeah, that was his family basically, and then we see him, tonight and with Elena, and there is a difference between.
I agree. I do think that there is a big difference. What I'm wondering about hearing all of Damon's story and everything, for lack of better words, so what? What is the reason Damon is here? Yes, we know it's because he was touching Bonnie, but I'm with Kai. What does he bring to the table right now? Does he bring anything to the table? Was it necessary for him to be here, or is it just because he was touching Bonnie when Bonnie was lifted up and put in this hell? What do you guys think? Do you think that there's something he's hiding or something that he is capable of giving that we haven't seen yet?
I wanted there to be more to his story than just... I don't know that I necessarily believe that killing the pregnant woman was like the worst day of his life because I'm like, how many other people have you killed?
Right.
So I wanted to think that it was something bigger than what they thought it was.
Oh, it's got to be way bigger than killing a pregnant lady. That's not that bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how I sounded in my head, and then I was like, I don't want to say that out loud.
Steven hits the views here expressed by the AfterBuzz hosts. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, the boost, Steven everybody.
But don't you think about that? Like, he's a vampire. He's done way worse than probably that. He's probably, eaten children or something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've seen him do what he's done to his best friends and everything.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I just feel like there's more to what happened on this particular day.
I just think that he's got to pull his weight, like Kai said. Although, what's Kai's weight? What can he do?
He has the ascendant.
Yeah,
and he's the one who told them how to get out of there.
Yeah, and he said it's either all of us go out as friends or...
I go out by myself.
Yeah,
why wouldn't he just do that then, though? If he was capable of doing that, then why wouldn't he just do that? I feel like he's lying about something.
Maybe, like you're saying, Damon is needed for something we don't know yet.
I don't feel like Kai has all the answers, although he seems to think he does. We know they have to wait for the eclipse, so that comes every day, not too hard to wait for. But what exactly do they need to do with this ascendant, with Bonnie's magic, with him being kind of magic? I don't know. What's the missing piece right now? How are we going to actually get out of here? And now Bonnie doesn't even want to get out of here because it'd be like letting a mass murderer out of prison. And also, what is Graham's thinking sending Bonnie to this place with this mass murderer?
Well, maybe he was sent after the fact.
No, he's been there since 94, right?
If he was sent after the fact, then this place wouldn't have existed. This place only exists because the Coven made it for him, correct?
Yeah.
It'd be like sending somebody to a maximum security prison, right? It's a Coven's version of that.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So he's been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
Reliving this day. So I don't think that it's a coincidence that...
Has he been there for 20 years?
Well, if it happened Well, I'm not sure that you're aging in this hell world.
I don't think he's been here since 1994. I think he was sent to this world in 1994.
Yeah, sent to the
prison.
Because the newspaper said his family was massacred in 1994, right? on that day. So then,
but I don't think he was sent on that day because, like you're saying, that it wasn't this family it was the coven when they found out.
Well, maybe because it was in the papers they found out, so they sent him. That's why he's living this day that the paper had, May 10th, 1994, because that's when they found out.
So you think he's been there for 20 years?
I think he has.
Dude.
That's
a long time.
Oh my God.
But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
But how old would he have been then when he did that?
22, remember?
But so he just doesn't age in this place?
I mean, it seems like in eternal hell you're not really aging.
So it's like vampire life.
You're not gonna die because they want you to eternally be in this hell.
Okay.
Because he doesn't look 20 years older than 22.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just doesn't make sense. But I guess you're right, T. He's probably reliving the day. I guess his whole body relives the day over and over again.
Yeah.
Scary. Very, very scary. Grams, I don't know about your judgment call on this one.
But it's not a coincidence that he has this major event that happened on this day and, like, Damon also is reliving this day. Like, there has to be a correlation, but I'm not sure that Damon ever said it was exactly May 10th. He said in May of 1994 I came back here, and so I'm assuming that by the 10th day he did it.
Was, though, I think, because when they did a flashback they just showed the paper sitting back then in the real 1994, so it was that day.
True, and we got to see him talking to Sheriff Forbes. That was so cool.
That was so cool.
Do you guys think, and this is not even a prediction, but it's just a question, do you guys think there's any way that Kai's lying? He's trying to make himself seem like this big bad. He's actually lying. He wasn't the murderer, and Grams knows that he's actually a good guy and that he's here and he's going to help. Like, what are the chances that he's just posing as being somebody else and really that's not his story?
I think he is a crazy person and that did happen. I mean, he's taking he showed them he can take the power from her. He can harness her powers.
And he did try to kill Damon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's crazy.
I agree. I think he's crazy.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Roxy.
I'm not saying, I said it's not a prediction, it's a question. I don't know. You never know with the show. But I guess this side of the table is way smarter than I am. So,
I'm just saying
whatever.
That he gave me psycho eyes. And
he did. He had crazy eyes for sure.
Yeah.
He definitely had crazy eyes. Somebody else who's had crazy eyes since the beginning of this season is frickin' Jeremy. I mean, kid's off his rocker right now. We see he started this episode tonight. He's booting everywhere. He's so wasted. Been there, kid. Not fun. He's going. Alaric's trying to help him out. We have a little time with Joe. She's cool. Don't know what's going on there. Yeah, Katie, what do you got to say about that? I saw that sigh.
I think something's going to happen between Alaric and Joe, but that was a very weird, jealous comment that she had. She's like... she called herself a successful, sexy, and only moderately insecure doctor.
Right.
What did she say? She said, give me your undivided attention.
Yeah, which is weird because it's not like he was staring at another girl's ass. He was looking at somebody's nosebleed. I would have my attention too. I'd be like, ugh.
She thought he was looking at the girl doctor who was helping the kid. And he was thinking about the blood.
Wicked smart.
But that was a little weird.
Because I thought she was going to say, hey, man, why don't you man up? It's only a little blood.
Yeah, I thought so, too.
Like, I thought she was going to go that route.
Because he looked queasy.
Yeah, he did look queasy, not like, ooh, that girl looks hot. It looked like, oh, I'm going to barf right now.
Because really he wants the blood. Yeah. He's having a hard time. We keep forgetting Alaric is in the transition period. I mean, he has transitioned, but he's still working on becoming a vampire. He's not able to deal with blood yet. He's not that great at it. Yeah. There's a learning curve. He's in it. So with all of this going on, everybody keeps forgetting that about Alaric. Like Elena when she was in class drinking the blood or all of those things. I feel kind of bad for him. And he really gives it to Jeremy tonight when he says...
I love it.
Yeah, I love that scene. So we've got the two of them fighting. And Jeremy kind of loses it on Alaric. Like, everybody thinks I should be okay and I'm not okay. And Alaric's like, dude, neither am I. Like, I pulled the short end of the stick too. What are you thinking? What did you guys feel about this scene? And were you happy that Alaric finally, this isn't the right word, but stood up to Jeremy?
I love him as a father figure for Elena and Jeremy. I think he does a great job at it. And he made very valid points that he drew the short end of the stick as well. He's gone through so much pain, but he says he has resentment too, but he has to find a way to keep moving on.
Because he says that's what we do.
Yeah, my thing with Jeremy, and I don't mean to sound insensitive because I love Bonnie. How many times has he lost Bonnie at this point?
Or somebody. And then started dating their ghosts.
Yeah. Why is he like, you guys don't understand. I deserve to be sad. I lost Bonnie. Hey, remember your sister? She lost the love of her life. Stefan lost a brother. Like, everyone has lost so many people.
You lost your parents.
Yeah, even using Bonnie as the reason why you're going down this road. You also go down this road every time you lose somebody.
Yeah, right.
So maybe one time when you lose somebody, you can figure your shit out and be like, hey, I'm not going to go down this road this time.
Here's the deal. I totally get what you're saying, and I don't disagree. But loss is loss.
Yeah.
And no matter how many people you've lost, when you lose somebody, it doesn't necessarily make it any easier. It's not like something you ever get used to. Oh, I've lost this many people. Oh, this is just another one, you know, no matter how old you are, no matter how many people bodies that line up. So I understand him being like this. But what I don't understand is him not recognizing that other people are hurting too.
Yes.
And that's not fair. But every time he looks at Alaric, he sees somebody who killed his girlfriend. That's what he's seeing, you know, because Bonnie gave up her life for these people. So I feel like he's resenting all of them, but that was her freaking choice.
Yeah, and he even listed Elena in that. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I was like, and how are you going to be like, oh, yeah, for Stefan to come back, for Elena? I'm like, yeah, for your sister, because Bonnie wanted you to have your sister here so you wouldn't lose her.
Right.
Well, I think it's just his character, though, because he deals with, like we were saying, loss every single time in the same way. And I think he's a little selfish because he is young, too. His character is still underage. This is just how
he looking like a man.
Damn right he does.
But this is just how his character deals with it. He's selfish about it. And I don't think he forgets that people are also losing other people. He just is too consumed with his own loss.
Right. I guess that's true. It's just, you know, for a little bit of time, yes, you can be very selfish, but sometimes it's just better to embrace that everybody's hurting, and so you can join together. We didn't see Caroline this episode, but we know her main goal has been to join everybody together so that they can all feel pain together, so nobody has to go through this alone. And that's been the problem with this season. Everybody's going through everything alone, and that's why they're all hurting so much. If everybody could just try to band together, I feel like Caroline right now. Everybody get your butts back here.
No wonder you missed her so much. You are Caroline.
Oh my God, I would love to be Caroline.
That means you love Stefan.
I do. Are you kidding me? I love Stefan. I think Stefan's awesome. I just don't. I'm not Stelena. You know, there's a very big difference.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you love Damon. I mean, you can't dislike the two brothers. Yeah. I even love Elena, which, are you guys reading all these people who just don't like Elena anymore? Yeah. There's just a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I'm so over Elena. I mean, that's kind of a bummer. I'm still into her, though. Especially now she's going back and forth. She's like a whole different person. Speaking of Elena, unless we have anything else about Jeremy and Alaric, we pretty much covered it. Hopefully they joined together and are on the same page. Moving on to Elena, we are seeing a whole new Elena right now, and I'm not sure if we're going to keep seeing this Elena based on what happens tonight. So, not Caroline, but Stefan straight up spills the beans about what's going on. Interesting.
I was waiting to see how long it was going to take because this new Elena who has been walking around kind of holier than thou, like, guys, I've gotten over my grief. I've lost Bonnie. Oh, I'm so sad. But hey, your brother, he was kind of a douche.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, it's like, okay, someone needed to say something because they're all biting. Even last week, you saw everyone biting their tongues, trying not to say it. And I'm glad that Stefan was the one to finally snap and say, you know what?
I agree.
In your face.
I agree, but it's a very weird thing for multiple reasons. Number one, they were just kind of having a moment. That, you know, at some point, Stefan was in love with Elena. I don't know if he is anymore, but he was. And they're sitting there, and he's straight up, I know it was fake, and I know it was for the purpose of the show, and whatever it is, proposes to her. He proposes to her, and they're laughing, and they're enjoying each other's company, and it's so selfless of him that he tells her, you know, you would think he would want to not tell her because she could potentially fall in love with him again.
Well, he was also getting pushed to the edge to tell her. They showed us several times he didn't really really like her reaction to, why are you caring for such a heartless person, somebody who doesn't deserve it? And
he dropped so many hints about it tonight. Yeah. And she was just not picking up on the hints. Yeah. And so he finally said it out loud. I thought, though, that was a really big thing for him to do. You wouldn't think that Stefan, I mean, maybe you would because Stefan's such a good dude, but I don't know if I would have been that big of a person.
I probably wouldn't have been, but I think that it also just shows that he does believe in their love. He believes in their love
because Stefan is Elena.
Yes,
we find out tonight that Stefan
totally
is Elena. Yes, we find that out. And she says, why did I love him? He goes, believe me, I asked myself that for a very long time. And I was like, but you don't anymore because you understand for the same reasons you love him. You see why she would love him. And you are Team Elena. And if Stefan is Team Elena, oh, dear God, tell me something, Katie. Talk to me. Tonight's episode, did you feel
You're missing Jesse real bad right now, ain't you, girl?
No, but I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I love having you here. I love hearing your opinions on it because I need to have my eyes open to how Stelena is working. How are your thoughts going right now?
Well, I think that he brought this up and told her the truth because he loves his brother and he doesn't want to just hear her talk about him like this when he knows that's not the truth, and he just had to say it. He's always gonna love her. Mm-hmm. He questioned it. He said it. I question this. I ask myself this every day for so long, and he knows she loves him, but I still think he really does love her.
Okay.
I think that there's a piece of both of Stefan and Elena that will always love each other, but they have chosen to both move on.
Here's what I will say. In order to, if there ever was going to be a Stelena, if he hadn't told her and she just had never known about Damon, that would have been effed up. You know, like if he had never told her the truth and she'd never found out she'd been in love with Damon and she just started loving him again, that would have been fake. So if there is ever going to be a Stelena,
this had to happen.
This had to happen. She had to find out because otherwise, how could anybody root for them? You know, that would be very difficult. But I still think, well, obviously I'm still Stelena, but I don't know. I would see why if I was a Stelena fan, this would be a monumental episode because it's very important that his love for his brother and his, even if he wants to end up being with her, he needs her to know the truth.
He's such a good guy.
He is such a good guy. Nobody's doubting that.
No one's saying that, he's definitely the better man between...
Even though he sticks his brother in a barn and locks him up.
Okay, but his brother also did things to him. Back and forth.
Back and forth. I don't know who's the better man. I don't know.
They both have their dark moments, but I think...
The Ripper.
I think that Damon on the show has shown his darker side a lot more often, but that's also why we love him more.
He killed Lexi, too.
Yeah,
Which was Stefan's best friend.
Yeah, did do that, and then Lexi saved him.
And then Stefan tried to kill Enzo.
Yep.
Well, he successfully killed Enzo once, and then Enzo came back.
Yeah, that's true.
Back and forth.
Tit for tat, babe. Honestly, though, I think that one of the most moving parts of this episode was after Elena finds out about all of this, she goes to Alaric and she's asking him, and he's like, let's not pretend I have the answers anymore because I don't. And thank you, Alaric, for finally saying that because these kids are old enough to hear that. Mm-hmm. He hands her this journal that we didn't know she wrote. It is called the Vampire Diaries, so
someone had a diary again.
We are getting back to our diary roots. I do miss our diaries that we've burnt throughout the seasons and that have been gone. But she wrote herself this letter. If you reading this, it's because somebody spilled the beans. I'm guessing it was Caroline. But if you want, Alaric can restore your memories, but I really hope you choose not to. I thought it was really beautifully phrased. I thought she did a really awesome job on it. What did you guys think about this letter and about Elena choosing to not restore her memories in this moment?
I thought, okay, well, then as soon as Damon gets back, she's going to rush to Alaric and say, give me my memories back.
At least until then, we won't see her lurking on the outskirts of Mystic Falls killing people?
Yeah. That's where my mind went with the note and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, so that buys her some time until Damon finally finds his way back here.
I'm Stelena, but I love the fact that the truth is out. I think that I love that fact, and I think that she not, having Alaric take her memories away, this is the best thing for her. She is not who she was remembering everything, which was just killing her. She was biting people, and she was losing herself. And
she was facing an eternity without her soulmate.
Yeah, but now...
She said that.
Yeah, she did. But now that she knows about it, it's still not the same effect as
feeling it.
Yeah, so it's good to know, but she's going to be able to survive and live and maybe move on.
I could have waited a little longer than episode 4 for her to be aware of this fact. I think we could have made it a few more episodes of her being the fun party, I lost my friend, but I'm still raging girl. But now that this is here, I think that if she doesn't get the memories back until Damon's back, that it's almost too easy. I don't feel like that's the way this show's going to go, because either he's going to come back and she's going to be so happy with her life that she doesn't want the memories back, and that's going to be what holds them apart for a little bit, or he's not coming back for a long time, and one day she finally is like, I can't live a fake life anymore, I need these memories back. Because I don't feel like he comes back, oh, hey, Alaric, why don't you just restore this, oh, happily ever after is the way it's going to work. I just don't think so.
Because I also don't think that Damon would be happy with that, because just last episode alone, when he finally told Bonnie, oh, you know, I just want to tell Elena how much I love her. You know, he's so excited to get back to her because he thinks that she's still grieving over him, and, you know, that they still have this life together.
Yeah.
When he gets back and sees that she's had her memories removed and could possibly have moved on with her life, how will that then affect Damon? Is he going to want her just right back like that? Oh, well, you were so quick to discard me. And
I think he'll want her no matter what. But we could talk about that in some predictions.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Okay, so I'm saving this for predictions. Oh,
I was just going to say, we forgot to also say that Ivy is back from the dead.
Oh, that's definitely part of predictions, but we'll talk about that in 1 second. I'm saving this for predictions because I don't even know if it qualifies as news and gossip, but you guys, I'm sure, are aware. So the rumors continue about the issues between Ian and Nina. It's making me very worried about this show and the future of it and the future of Delana. I think that the actors are starting to maybe influence the characters. And you guys are getting all of these tweets, too. I see that you're on them. I see that we're looking at these articles. What do we think? Do we hope that this is all just drama, or do we think... I don't know.
I mean, I think that we all hope that it's just drama and, you know, the media blowing things out of proportion to make a story and trying to find something when there's really nothing.
Okay.
But then, I mean, we've seen all the time people who've had nasty breakups and still work together. Worked on One Tree Hill.
Yeah.
I mean, and that dude, he cheated with the PA on set, you know? And they ended up getting married and everything. So it's like we've seen people... It's not the ideal, and I mean, their characters did eventually break up and, you know, were no longer together, but...
It came out that Nikki Reed was banned from set this past week, though. Who knows if that was actually true.
I read it. I hope it's rumors, though.
Yeah, it just, it's bumming me out a little bit, and it's tainting my view of Delana, and I need it to go away. But these are professionals. Let's just hope that we'll chalk it up to Hollywood rumors for now. We can move on to what you were just talking about, T. So we see at the end of the episode, Stefan's love of his life, if you want to call Ivy that, is back. I guess Enzo fed her his blood first. Interesting, Enzo, that you did that. So you're not the bad guy that Stefan thinks you are. Maybe now Stefan will want to come save you from Trip.
Is he, though? Because Stefan was trying to live a normal life, and he just made the girl into a vampire.
Okay, but he didn't murder her.
But he took it away from him.
He did take it away, but he didn't murder her. So he's not a cold-blooded killer. He's a cold-blooded vampire bringer. Douchebag. Love him, though. What do we think is going to happen there? Do we think that... I mean, we see Ivy in the next episode. I really can't tell you what she was doing. She was sitting with Caroline, so that means that Stefan must have made that connection. What do you guys think about Ivy? Are you excited to see her character?
I think I'm a little excited only because I knew that there was something about this girl from the beginning that was different. and I thought that she was already some sort of supernatural, but, you know, it turned out she was just human. But now that she is, it's kind of fun having a newbie vampire around that we have to reteach everything to, and they have to find a witch to make a daylight ring for her. You know, we don't have, well, I guess they have the twins for that, but, you know, it's like, it's all these new things that are coming with having like a new baby almost, you know, except it's a vampire.
What are you thinking?
I don't really know if she'll last that long. I don't
Fair.
think that.
In this world, it's difficult to tell.
Yeah.
I gotta say, guys, honestly, I'm loving every direction of the show's going. I can't stand spending a minute on Ivy right now. I'm so involved in our Scooby gang that I can't care. I can't care that Ivy's back. She was gone. I forgot who she was. Like, bye. Yeah. See you later. Not sure why we're bringing her back. I'm with you, Katie. I don't know how long she'll last. They're obviously bringing her back for a certain reason. I don't know what that is, but we will figure it out. Other things we see, Bonnie stabbing Kai, maybe. Tiona, you thought that was just editing?
I think that's editing. It looked like the lighting was different from shot to shot. Like, Bonnie kind of puts her hand out and it looked like it was one setting, and then he was in a different sort of background setting. Right. And I know that especially with CW does it a lot, where they try to make it look like someone's, all the time, you know.
And what about this random chick running through the field? Baffled. With no idea. Who are you, random girl?
Who has torches?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I'm actually baffled.
Must be a flashback.
Or something. Or something. The actual 1994. I really don't know. If you guys know at home, please, please, please go to YouTube, go to iTunes, rate, comment, subscribe. And, of course, as always, keep in touch with us through the week. We love talking to you guys. It's the only way that we get to next Thursday. So if we want to talk to you, Katie, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Katie Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's, and Instagram at Katie Campbell 13.
And where can we find you, Tiona?
I'm on Twitter and on Instagram at the Tiona Hobson.
And you can find me at Roxy Striar. You can find us at AfterBuzz TV, AfterBuzzTV.com. Until next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.